In the year 2284, Earth had become a player in the vast and dangerous universe. It had taken centuries of war, discovery, and sacrifice, but humanity was now on the radar of countless alien species. Some watched with curiosity, others with fear, and a few with contempt. Earth was just a small blue planet in a distant corner of the galaxy, but its people were no longer the easy target they once were. It all started one quiet evening. The first signs came as an unusual signal. At first, it was just a faint blip, lost among the regular communications of the galaxy. But then it grew stronger, clearer. It was a message, a simple transmission, sent through every known communication channel. It began to spread across the stars like wildfire. To the ones watching, we know you're there. Try us if you dare. Humanity is ready and waiting. The message was strange. No grand declarations, no threats, just words, cold and direct. But for those who understood the meaning behind the words, it was a warning, a challenge, a promise. On the Galactic Council, which governed most of the known universe, the response to this message was immediate and varied. The humans had been quiet for so long, mostly focused on their own world and their slow progress in space exploration. But now, the Council's main chambers buzzed with discussions. How should they respond to this? Was it a bluff? Were the humans simply testing the waters, hoping to gain some attention? "I think they're just frightened," said a representative from the Relics, a species known for their intellectual superiority and vast knowledge. "They are a primitive species. What could they possibly have that we need to fear?" But how could they have sent this message across so many channels? Countered an official from the Drellith race, a species with vast military might. "It's as if they knew we were listening. They didn't just broadcast to their own world. They reached us all. How did they know we'd be paying attention?" The Drellith official was right. The message was peculiar. How could humans, with their limited technology compared to the ancient species of the Council, have even known the aliens were watching them? Was this an act of sheer bravado, or did they possess something far more dangerous than anyone realized? The council room grew tense. In one corner, a holographic map of the galaxy spun slowly, showing the locations of Earth and the various galactic powers. There was no sign of anything special on Earth's surface. No hidden fleets, no advanced weaponry. They were just a growing species, barely scratching the surface of space. So why this sudden confidence? The members of the Galactic Council weren't sure, but they weren't willing to ignore it. The message itself became a subject of debate. Some members thought it was nothing more than a defiant human gesture, a cry for attention. Others felt it was a calculated challenge, meant to test the resolve of the Council. A veteran diplomat named Lauren Neer from the Thaurus species, a species known for their diplomatic skills and history of successful negotiations, spoke up. "We've faced defiance before," she said calmly, looking around the room. "But this is different. I've never heard of a species so bold. We need to take this seriously." But the younger, more aggressive members of the Council disagreed. Why take them seriously? Earth is a tiny, insignificant planet. Why risk provoking our fleets when their threats are nothing more than hot air? The debate raged on for hours, but in the end, the decision was made. A fleet would be dispatched, not to invade, but to probe, to test humanity's resolve. The Council was not ready to believe that these humans, still so young in their development, had anything worth fearing. Yet they couldn't ignore the possibility that the humans might have something they didn't understand. "Prepare the ships," a gruff voice commanded from the back of the room. "We'll show them their place." Meanwhile, on Earth, the response to the broadcast was different. No one on the planet fully understood what was about to happen. The leaders of Earth were not fools. They knew the message would likely provoke the attention of far more dangerous forces than they had ever encountered. But they had a point to make. The message had been carefully crafted. "Humanity is ready and waiting" was more than just words. It was a declaration. It wasn't just a threat. It was a statement of confidence. They were tired of being looked down on by alien species who thought they could ignore or control them. Earth had proven its resilience. They had survived their own wars, their own destruction, and had rebuilt again and again. They had grown in strength, technology, and unity. And now, they were ready to stand up for themselves. But no one on Earth knew exactly how the universe would respond. Would the aliens simply laugh it off? Or would they send a fleet to test humanity's courage? Either way, the humans were ready. They had spent years preparing for just this moment. And now, the moment had come. Some people thought the message was a mistake, that it would provoke an unnecessary war. Others believed it was a bold, necessary move. But no one, absolutely no one, knew how it would all play out. As the minutes ticked by and the first signs of an alien fleet appeared in the outer reaches of the solar system, humanity watched. The universe was listening. And now, humanity had to prove that they weren't the helpless, small species the galaxy had once believed them to be. The Galactic Council was not ready for what came next. After Earth's bold message, the representatives went into overdrive, scouring every available file on humanity. They couldn't afford to underestimate a species that had just broadcast a challenge across the stars, and now they needed to understand everything they could about the Earthlings. The first thing they learned was that humanity had a long, troubled history. It had been a species torn apart by war, plague, and destruction. The rise and fall of empires, brutal conflicts over resources, and even near-extinction events. But despite all the hardships, humans had something few other species could claim: resilience. They never gave up, no matter how impossible the odds seemed. The Council's analysts dug deeper, poring through archives on Earth's technological advancements. They discovered that humanity's scientific progress had been explosive in recent centuries, especially in the fields of energy, space travel, and communication. The humans had gone from barely leaving their planet to establishing colonies on the Moon, Mars, and beyond in a matter of decades. Some of their technologies seemed primitive compared to the Council's, but others were astonishing. One of the most startling revelations was about Earth's weaponry. The humans had a vast arsenal of conventional weapons, but what caught the Council's attention were rumors of something far more powerful, something humanity had kept under wraps. The humans had developed energy-based weapons capable of disintegrating metal, severing shields, and disabling entire fleets with a single shot. The full details of this weapon were unknown, but the idea that humans might have built something so advanced sent chills through the Council chambers. "They must be bluffing," said the leader of the Zoravok, a race of massive, muscle-bound warriors. They were known for their brute strength and dominating presence. There is no way a young species like this could develop such power. But a diplomat from the Sirphilians, a race known for their intelligence and cunning, raised an eyebrow. "I don't believe it's a bluff. Their communication networks, they're too precise. This isn't just a warning. This is a challenge. They know what they're doing." The Council couldn't agree. Some were dismissive, believing humanity was just trying to gain respect, while others, like the Sirphilians, grew more cautious. The possibility that humanity had weapons beyond anything the galaxy had seen made them uneasy, but no one could verify it. No one knew for sure. As the days passed, the Council's fear turned to frustration. They couldn't let such an arrogant species challenge them without consequence. A decision had to be made. The fleet commanders gathered, each representing a different faction of the galaxy. All had come to one conclusion: humanity had to be put in its place. But as they prepared to mobilize their forces, a different strategy began to take shape. The Council decided to send diplomats, covert agents who would be sent to Earth in hopes of finding out more about these mysterious humans. They would attempt to negotiate peace, or at least gather information. They had to know what humanity was hiding, and why they were acting so boldly. It was decided that the best course of action would be to send a small, elite team to Earth to negotiate directly with the humans. The diplomats were experts in handling tough situations, skilled in the art of persuasion and subtlety. If they could learn more about humanity's capabilities, they might be able to find a way to deal with them without escalating the situation into war. On Earth, life went on as usual, at least for most people. The human governments were well aware of the situation. The message had been sent, but they too were still unsure of what the next steps would be. The military was on high alert, watching the skies and preparing for the worst. But they too were unsure of what kind of threat they were facing. Alien ships, advanced technologies. What did the aliens really know about humanity? The public didn't know much. Most people were simply going about their daily lives, unaware of the high-stakes game being played behind closed doors. The broadcast had made headlines, and people spoke of it with both pride and fear. Some saw it as a rallying cry, a bold statement from humanity that they were no longer willing to be treated as a primitive species. Others worried that it might have been a mistake, a provocation that could lead to destruction. In the corridors of power, leaders debated how to handle the situation. The message had been sent, but what now? Should humanity wait for the aliens to strike first, or should they prepare for an offensive? Should they try to negotiate for peace, or stand firm in their defense? There were no easy answers. Meanwhile, the diplomats from the Galactic Council were preparing for their mission. Their ship, cloaked and undetectable to Earth's radar systems, set course for the Blue Planet. They knew they couldn't risk revealing their presence until they had more information. Their first priority was to understand the humans, who they were, what they wanted, and how far they were willing to go to protect themselves. As the Council diplomats neared Earth, the situation grew even more tense. Earth was not as defenseless as they had assumed, and the message sent to the stars had made it clear. Humanity was ready for whatever came next. They weren't waiting anymore. Back in the council chambers, the debate continued. "We need to find out what they're hiding," one representative muttered. "We need to know exactly what we're dealing with before we make our move." And so, the stage was set. The universe was about to learn just how ready humanity really was. But the question remained, would the humans be able to handle the weight of their own challenge? Or would they be crushed under the might of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations? Only time would tell. The day came faster than anyone had expected. The Galactic Council's fleet, hidden in the dark corners of space, had made its move. They weren't sending their full force. No, that would be too risky. But a small task force of advanced ships, cloaked and undetectable by Earth's primitive detection systems, was now silently approaching the solar system. Their mission: to observe, to learn, and to prepare for the next move. The fleet was massive by human standards, but for the Council, it was merely a small show of force, a warning to the upstart humans who had dared to issue a challenge. They had underestimated Earth once, but they wouldn't make that mistake again. This time, they would proceed with caution. After all, they knew too little about humanity's true capabilities. On Earth, the message was already making waves. Governments were preparing for the worst, and the military was on full alert. But nothing prepared them for what came next. It wasn't the first alien ship that appeared. No, humanity had already been in contact with other species, alien races who had come in peace, or at least with no immediate hostility. But this was different. This wasn't the simple diplomatic envoy or a trade mission. This was something much bigger. At first, Earth's defense systems didn't pick up the alien ships. They were using stealth technology so advanced that even the most sophisticated human scanners couldn't detect them. But then, something changed. An outlying satellite detected a strange anomaly, an odd signal that didn't match anything they had seen before. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but the alert was raised, and soon, a team of scientists was working around the clock to figure out what it was. Within hours, it became clear. Earth was being watched. Meanwhile, the alien fleet moved closer. They hadn't come to invade. Not yet. They had come to test, to see if the humans were truly as confident as they seemed. But the problem was this: the humans weren't just sitting around waiting. They were watching too. In the outer reaches of the solar system, one of the alien ships began to break away from the fleet. It was small, a scouting vessel, equipped with sensors to gather more information. The crew inside had been briefed. Approach Earth, observe, but do not engage. The last thing the Council wanted was to start a war. But the humans, they were something else entirely. As the alien scout ship approached Earth's orbit, the humans made their move. They were prepared. It wasn't just luck that they had detected the alien presence. It was years of work, of advancements in technology that the Council had no idea about. Humans had built a network of defense systems that could detect even the smallest anomaly in space, and they were now fully operational. The alien ship had barely entered the inner solar system before Earth's defenses locked onto it. The satellite network buzzed with activity. Earth's military forces, positioned on the Moon, Mars, and scattered across their colonies, were now watching the ship like hawks. The humans had been waiting for this moment, and now they were ready to show what they had prepared. The alien vessel, unaware of Earth's readiness, cruised closer. Its crew had expected no resistance, no confrontation. They were only here to observe. But then the signal came, a warning, sharp and clear. Unidentified vessel, this is Earth. You are entering a restricted area. Change course immediately. The voice was calm but firm. It was human, but the tone was like nothing the alien crew had heard before. It was not a plea for peace. It was not a request. It was an order. The alien crew froze. Their scanners couldn't detect the source of the signal, only that it was coming from Earth's moon, from a hidden military base they hadn't known existed. They hadn't expected this level of coordination, let alone the clear warning. The commander of the scout ship hesitated. Was this a fluke? Had they misjudged humanity's capabilities? No, it couldn't be. This was a mistake. They were only a scout ship after all. They were supposed to be invisible, undetectable. How had they been found? The command came swiftly from the ship's control room. Ignore the warning. Proceed with the mission. The crew obeyed, though with growing unease. They continued on their path toward Earth, unaware that their every movement was being watched by hundreds of hidden satellites and advanced drones. But the moment they crossed into Earth's atmosphere, everything changed. The human military responded faster than the aliens could anticipate. A swarm of small but powerful drones shot from the surface of Earth, swarming around the alien ship. They weren't weapons, not in the traditional sense, but they were highly advanced, capable of disarming, disabling even the most sophisticated technologies. The alien ship, unable to shake the swarm, tried to flee, but it was too late. It was surrounded. The humans had prepared for this. The human command center was buzzing with activity. The scouts had been found. The aliens had underestimated them. And now they were in full control of the situation. We've disabled their engines, one officer reported. They can't escape. The message was clear. The humans weren't afraid. They weren't bluffing. Meanwhile, aboard the alien fleet, the situation was growing more tense. The scout ship had not responded. It had been captured, disabled, and now the council members knew. Humanity was more advanced than they had anticipated. The fleet leader, an experienced warrior from the Drellith species, slammed his fist onto the table. We should have destroyed them when we had the chance. But the Serphilian diplomat, ever the voice of reason, spoke carefully. It's not too late. But we must know more. There is no turning back now. Humanity had sent a clear message. They weren't just another species in the galaxy. They were a force to be reckoned with. The game had changed. And now, the real battle was just beginning. The news of the alien scout ship's capture spread quickly throughout Earth. For the first time in human history, a foreign fleet, one of the most advanced the galaxy had ever seen, had been stopped in its tracks by humanity. The military broadcasted a statement, but it wasn't one of victory. It was a warning, and it was clear. Earth had crossed a line. We have demonstrated our strength. General Clayton Kerr, The commander of Earth's defense forces declared, "But now, the real test begins. We must be ready for what comes next." He was right. Earth's moment of triumph was short-lived. The alien fleet, even with its hidden capabilities, was not going to simply back down. The scout ship might have been captured, but the rest of the alien ships were still out there, waiting, watching, planning. On the Council side, things were in disarray. The captured scout ship, still in Earth's orbit, was a symbol of how wrong they had been. For centuries, they had viewed humans as an insignificant species, primitive, naive, and weak. But now, that belief had been shattered. The Drellith warlord was the first to speak up, his voice filled with anger. "Fools! We should have destroyed them when we had the chance," he bellowed. "They've shown us they are not afraid. If we don't act now, they will only grow stronger." The Sirfilian diplomat, who had once advocated for patience and observation, remained silent for a long moment. The situation was far more complicated than anyone had imagined. They had underestimated the humans, yes, but now there was no turning back. The question wasn't whether humanity could be stopped, it was how. "We need to act carefully," the Sirfilian said, his voice steady but full of concern. "If we move too aggressively, we risk provoking them into a war they're ready for. They've made it clear they will defend their planet at any cost." The Drellith warlord slammed his fist down on the table. "Let them come. We have fleets, we have power. We will crush them and show them their place in the galaxy." But not all the council members agreed with the warlord's bloodthirsty approach. The Rillick's representative, known for their logic and analytical skills, interrupted. "Think about this carefully," he said. "Humanity is no longer the weak, isolated species we thought. They have capabilities that defy our understanding. If we attack now, we may risk destroying what we've spent centuries building. Let's not forget, they still control our scout ship. They can use it to learn our weaknesses." The debate raged on for hours, but in the end, the council voted for a plan that was, in their eyes, the best course of action. Send a fleet to Earth, not to conquer, but to intimidate, to test humanity's resolve. They would demand the release of the scout ship and send a clear message that the galaxy would not tolerate such insolence. But the council was divided. Some were ready for war, others sought diplomacy. But no one could deny it. Earth had become a force to be reckoned with. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the human military prepared for the worst. They knew the alien fleet would not leave them alone for long. General Kerr's voice was firm in his briefing to the president. "We've intercepted their communications. They are coming. We don't know exactly when, but they're sending reinforcements. We must be ready for any attack." But Earth wasn't just waiting. The capture of the alien ship had given humanity something the Council hadn't expected: knowledge. The humans had started to reverse engineer the alien technology, working around the clock to uncover the secrets hidden within the ship. The tech was far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. Weapons, shields, and engines that defied conventional understanding. But with every discovery, Earth's confidence grew. They knew their survival depended on making use of this alien technology. At the same time, diplomatic channels were opened. The president of the United Earth Confederation, Eleanor Hayes, decided that the message to the council should be sent in no uncertain terms. "We don't want war," she said in a live broadcast, "but we will not back down. If the council believes it can intimidate us into submission, they are sorely mistaken. Humanity is ready." The broadcast echoed across the stars, reaching the ears of every species in the galaxy. It wasn't just a statement. It was a declaration of independence. Earth was no longer a helpless, small planet to be ignored. They had proven that they could defend themselves, and they were willing to take on the entire galaxy if it came to that. But the Council, still reeling from the loss of their scout ship, didn't take the message lightly. They knew that diplomacy could no longer be the first option. Negotiations had failed before they even began. There was no more time for talks. As Earth braced for the inevitable, the alien fleet moved closer, each ship a massive, intimidating presence in the darkness of space. The time for games was over. The humans had drawn their line in the sand, and now the aliens would test just how far they were willing to go to defend it. For both sides, the path ahead was uncertain. Would the galaxy's oldest and most powerful races crush the humans? Or would humanity's sheer willpower and newfound strength force them into a new reality? One where Earth wasn't just a footnote, but a powerful force in the galaxy. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as the two forces, each now aware of the other's power, prepared for the clash that was about to come. Earth was ready, but would it be enough to hold its ground against the galaxy's mightiest? Only time would tell. The tension in the galaxy was palpable. Earth's bold stance had shaken the Galactic Council to its core. The alien fleet, which had been in deep space, now approached Earth's solar system at an alarming speed. They were no longer debating what to do. The time for action had arrived. Humanity, in turn, was ready. The captured alien scout ship had given them new knowledge, new technology, and new hope. But even with this newfound power, Earth knew that facing the full force of the Council would be a battle like no other. Earth's military, now armed with alien tech, had been preparing for months. They had a plan, a fragile, risky plan, but they had no choice but to trust it. General Clayton Kerr stood in the command center, looking over the screens that displayed the incoming alien ships. The room was filled with tension, but his face was calm. His team was ready. "How many ships?" he asked, his voice steady. 15 large ships, including the command vessel, his lieutenant replied, glancing at the monitors. "Each one is heavily armed. They're coming fast. We have approximately 12 hours before they enter our atmosphere." General Kerr nodded. "Prepare all systems. We don't have the luxury of waiting any longer." On Earth, millions of civilians watched the sky. News outlets broadcasted the approaching fleet, but for most it was still hard to believe. The aliens were coming. The challenge issued by humanity had become a reality. Some feared it would be the end, but others stood firm in their belief that humanity could stand its ground. In the high-tech bunkers scattered across Earth's various military bases, the final preparations were underway. Weapons were being calibrated, ships readied for launch, and the final pieces of alien technology were integrated into the defense systems. Earth had taken the Council's warning seriously. They couldn't afford to lose this fight. Meanwhile, aboard the alien command ship, the leaders of the Council were nervous. The Scifian diplomat stood before the massive table, looking at the holographic projections of Earth. The aliens had prepared for this day, but nothing could have prepared them for how much humanity had evolved in such a short time. "Do you believe they will surrender?" the Drellith warlord asked, his voice filled with impatience. "Or should we begin the invasion now?" The Scifian diplomat, calmer than anyone else in the room, took a deep breath. "Humanity is not like other species we faced. They do not surrender easily, and they certainly do not fear death. We have underestimated them, and that mistake could cost us everything. We need to proceed with caution." But the Drellith warlord was already impatient. "They've shown defiance. We should teach them a lesson they'll never forget." The Relics, ever the voice of reason, interrupted. "We must not be hasty. The humans are unlike any species we've encountered. They may have found a way to adapt to our technology. We do not yet know their full capabilities." Back on Earth, General Kerr was staring at the approaching alien ships. His fingers drummed on the table as he considered their options. He had one chance to prove that humanity wasn't just a small, vulnerable species. They were ready to defend their home. "We can't match them ship for ship," General Kerr said, looking around the room. "But we don't need to. We need to strike fast, hit them where it hurts, and show them that Earth is not to be taken lightly." The plan was simple but risky. Earth's defense fleet would intercept the alien ships at the outer edge of the solar system, using the newly integrated alien technology to disrupt their shields and weapon systems. The goal wasn't to win the fight outright. It was to cripple the fleet and send a clear message. If they could just slow the aliens down, the human forces could buy enough time to prepare for an all-out war, or perhaps even convince the Council to back off. As the alien fleet entered the outer reaches of the solar system, Earth's first wave of defense ships launched. Small, fast, and heavily armed, the human ships were built for one purpose: to disrupt and disable. The alien fleet hadn't expected such a bold move, and it caught them off guard. Human ships darted through space, using new, powerful weapons to blast through the weaker points of the alien ship shields. The alien fleet fired back, launching energy blasts that lit up the dark void of space. The battle was brutal. Explosions filled the air as human and alien ships exchanged fire. But despite the firepower of the Council's fleet, humanity's newfound technology proved to be a game-changer. Their weapons were not as advanced, but they were more unpredictable, catching the aliens off guard. One by one, alien ships were disabled. They didn't fall easily, but they couldn't withstand the speed and precision of Earth's attacks. It wasn't long before the alien commanders realized that the humans weren't just defending their planet. They were fighting for their survival. Back on Earth, President Eleanor Hayes watched the battle unfold on her screen. She stood tall, a mix of pride and worry in her eyes. The humans were holding their own. The alien fleet hadn't broken through yet. "We've done it," she whispered to herself. "We've shown them." But the battle was far from over. The alien fleet, realizing their mistake, began to regroup. The full force of their military might hadn't even been unleashed yet. "We must stay focused," General Kerr said, voice tight with determination. "This is just the beginning. We need to hold them off, buy as much time as we can." As Earth's ships continued to fight, the alien fleet, now more cautious, shifted tactics. The true battle had begun, and Earth had made its stand. But with so much still unknown about the alien technology and the Council's true power, humanity couldn't afford to let its guard down. The outcome of this battle would determine not only the fate of Earth, but the future of the entire galaxy. Would humanity stand victorious, or would the alien forces crush them once and for all? The stars above seemed to whisper as the battle raged on. There would be no easy answers. The battle in space raged on, and Earth's defense fleet was holding its ground. Alien ships, though massive and powerful, were slowly being taken down one by one. The humans had caught the aliens off guard with their new technology and unconventional tactics. Each explosion, each disabled vessel, sent a message. Earth was not the weak planet the Council had assumed it was. General Clayton Kerr stood in the command center, his eyes scanning the screens that showed the battlefield. The human fleet was working together like a well-oiled machine, taking advantage of every weakness the alien ships revealed. But the alien fleet wasn't backing down either. They had been forced to adapt. And now their ships were becoming more aggressive, more unpredictable. The real test was coming. "We're gaining ground," Kerr said, his voice calm but firm. "But they're starting to regroup. We need to push harder. We can't let them get their footing." He turned to his lieutenant. "Activate the next phase of the plan. It's time to go on the offensive." The lieutenant nodded. "Understood, sir." Back on Earth, President Eleanor Hayes watched from the Situation Room, her face a mask of determination. The reports coming in were promising, but she knew better than to get hopeful too soon. This battle had already lasted longer than anyone had expected. The aliens were not going to give up easily. "We've bought ourselves some time," she said to her advisors, "but it's not enough. We need to know what comes next. We need to understand their technology, their strategy." The president had a plan of her own. She had authorized the use of the newly acquired alien technology, but she also knew they needed to gather more intelligence. If Earth was to survive, they had to be prepared for whatever the alien fleet threw at them next. While the battle continued in space, human engineers were working tirelessly on Earth to unlock more secrets of the alien scout ship. The ship's technology was advanced, but not entirely alien. Pieces of it could be reverse engineered, adapted to Earth's own needs. The engineers were already getting results: new weapons, shields that could withstand alien fire, and communication systems that allowed the human fleet to coordinate even more efficiently. Despite the progress, the alien fleet was still overwhelming. The humans were winning battles, but the war was far from over. The Council was a powerful force, and the leaders of the alien fleet knew they had to act quickly before they were completely outmatched. On the command ship of the alien fleet, the Drellith warlord stared at the holographic display showing the battle. His rage was palpable, and his fingers drummed impatiently on the table. The human forces were relentless, and the alien fleet was beginning to show signs of serious damage. The warlord was furious. "Enough of this," he roared. "We must strike back with everything we have. No more games. If we allow this planet to resist us any longer, we risk losing everything." The Serphilian diplomat, who had been silent for much of the battle, spoke up. "We need to reassess. The humans are learning from us. Their technology, their tactics, they're evolving faster than we anticipated. If we're not careful, we will find ourselves fighting a battle we cannot win." "Do you propose we surrender?" the warlord spat. "No," the Serphilian replied coolly, "but we must find a way to break them. If we can't do that, the humans will soon have the upper hand." The Rilic's representative, always the calm voice of reason, added, "It's time for something new. We must change our approach." As the Council argued, the alien fleet's flagship began to prepare for a new strategy. They had underestimated Earth, and now they would face the consequences. Back on Earth, General Kerr's fleet was growing bolder. The initial wave of alien ships had been pushed back, and the remaining ships were retreating, trying to regroup. Earth's defense forces weren't finished yet. They knew this was only the first stage of a much larger conflict. The real question now was how much longer the human fleet could hold out against the entire might of the Council. As the alien ships began to retreat, the humans took their chance. They pushed forward, launching a counteroffensive. Their ships, smaller and more agile than the alien behemoths, darted in and out of range, striking fast and hard. The battle was not over yet, but the tides were turning in humanity's favor. For the first time since the conflict began, the aliens seemed uncertain. Their ships were retreating into the darkness of space, regrouping for a new offensive. Earth had dealt them a heavy blow, but the aliens were still a formidable force. General Kerr knew that they had won a small victory, but the war was far from over. "We've made a dent," Kerr said, his voice full of quiet confidence. "But we need more. We can't afford to lose the momentum." "We're ready, sir," the lieutenant replied. "Our ships are prepared to launch the next wave if they push forward." "Good," Kerr said. "We're not backing down. Not now. Not ever." In the silence of space, the alien fleet began to regroup. The Council had made a decision. Their next move would be decisive. But the humans were ready. They had proven they were not weak, not naive, and not afraid. Earth's fight for survival had only just begun. As the alien fleet retreated into the darkness, both sides knew that the next battle would be the one that determined the fate of the galaxy. Would Earth's resilience be enough to push back the invaders, or would the alien fleet strike with the full force of their might, wiping humanity from the stars? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain: humanity would fight with everything it had. The stakes had never been higher. The battle for Earth had reached its breaking point. After months of intense fighting, the alien fleet had retreated, but humanity knew it wasn't over. Earth had proven itself capable of standing against one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. However, that didn't mean the aliens had given up. They were regrouping, preparing for a final, decisive strike. On Earth, General Clayton Kerr stood in the command center once more, his face drawn but determined. The battle had taken its toll, but humanity had held strong. The alien fleet was still out there, and they would come again. This time, Earth needed to be ready. "We've gained ground, but it's not enough," General Kerr said, staring at the holographic map of the solar system. "The aliens are coming back, and they'll come with everything they've got. We can't let our guard down." The president, Eleanor Hayes, was at his side, her face set in a mask of steely resolve. "We've shown them that we won't surrender, that we're not afraid to fight. But we need to end this once and for all. Our people have been through enough." Humanity's military forces were being reinforced with the best technology Earth had ever known, alien technology, repurposed for human use. It had made a difference in the previous battles. But now, the human forces would have to adapt further. The next battle would be unlike any they had faced before. "The new defense systems are ready," Kerr continued. "Our ships are equipped with the best of what we've captured. The alien fleet won't be able to overwhelm us this time. We have one chance to win." He turned to the screen, where the incoming alien fleet was already beginning to make its move. Hundreds of ships, some of the largest and most intimidating in the galaxy, were on their way to Earth. This was the moment humanity had been preparing for. The fate of the planet, and possibly the galaxy, would be decided in the coming days. The alien fleet's commanders had made their decision. After their previous defeat, they were determined to end the resistance once and for all. Their leaders had given the order to attack Earth with full force. "We have underestimated them," the Sirfilian diplomat said on the command ship, his voice tense. "But we cannot back down now. We must teach them that defiance will not be tolerated." The Drellith warlord, still filled with rage, slammed his fist against the table. "Enough talk. Let's end this." The Rillick's representative, usually the calmest of them all, added, "This is the last chance we'll get. If we fail, we risk losing the entire campaign. This battle will be decisive. It must be." As the alien fleet advanced, both sides prepared for the final confrontation. Human ships, now fully armed with alien weapons and enhanced shields, took their positions. The battle lines were drawn. On Earth, the civilians watched nervously. The news broadcasts had been full of updates, and the whole world seemed to hold its breath. Humanity had fought valiantly, but would it be enough? The alien fleet arrived at the outskirts of Earth's orbit, and both sides stood ready. The massive ships of the alien fleet loomed, and the human ships, smaller but faster, positioned themselves between the invaders and the planet they had sworn to protect. The first shots rang out. Explosions lit up space as alien lasers and human plasma cannons collided in a blaze of light. The fight was brutal, faster and fiercer than anything humanity had experienced before. Earth's forces fought with everything they had. The human ships darted in and out of the massive alien ships, firing their weapons and using the terrain of the solar system to their advantage. General Kerr's voice came through the communication channels. "Hold the line. Don't let them pass. Protect the planet at all costs." The alien fleet fought back, their powerful ships launching devastating attacks. But Earth had learned from every battle. Their ships dodged, countered, and struck back with precision. It wasn't a battle of size. It was a battle of strategy. And humanity had the advantage of knowing the enemy, having studied their every move. The battle raged for hours. The alien fleet, once unstoppable, was now on the defensive. Their ships, massive and imposing, were falling one by one. The alien commanders, surprised by the intensity of Earth's resistance, began to panic. "Why are they still fighting?" The Sirfilian diplomat muttered, "This shouldn't be possible. We can't lose," the Drellith warlord snarled. "We must crush them now." But it was already too late. The alien fleet had underestimated the humans' ability to adapt, to learn, and to fight for their survival. As more alien ships were disabled, the humans pushed forward, striking at the heart of the fleet. They hit where it hurt most, at the command vessels and the critical systems that kept the fleet functioning. On Earth, President Hayes watched the battle unfold. Her heart raced, but she held her breath as the reports came in. The aliens were retreating. One by one, the ships that had once threatened humanity were forced to withdraw. The human fleet, battered but victorious, stood their ground. And then, as if on cue, the alien flagship, the largest ship in the fleet, began to turn. It wasn't retreating, but it was signaling a halt. The fight had ended. The aliens were retreating from Earth. The battle had been won. Humanity had done the impossible. Against all odds, they had defeated the most powerful fleet the galaxy had ever seen. The war wasn't over yet, but the Council had been forced to reconsider their approach. Earth had proven itself, and humanity had shown that they were not a species to be trifled with. As the alien ships turned and left Earth's orbit, General Kerr allowed himself a rare moment of relief. They had won. Earth had made its final stand, and they had succeeded. But deep down, both humans and aliens knew the truth. This was only the beginning. The galaxy had seen Earth's power, and it would never be the same again. And for humanity, this was just the start of their journey. They had made their mark on the galaxy, and from this moment forward, no one would ever forget the name of Earth.